How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. You can hear me quite fine.
Come on, you sound good, sound clear.
All right, sound good. So, for those who are logging in and clicking in and flying through, this is Wes Hype, master of entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
manager of one of the best in the business, comedians, probably more. And I'm sure there's other projects that we're going to get into and talk to Wes Hype about and stuff like that. But Wes, what interests me first and foremost is what's going on? What are you doing? How are you? How's this? I know it's affected everybody's life, but you personally, how are you taking this on?
I mean, just take it one day at a time. Um, I've really been trying to utilize the time that's been gifted to me as much as possible. There's a lot of go, go, go in the entertainment world. Everything is always rush, rush, rush. Everything is always last minute. We're always trying to do more than what can fit into a 24-hour period of time. So to
Yeah.
be able to have some more downtime is kind of a blessing in itself right now. So I'm definitely taking the time to do some much needed housekeeping throughout the business and throughout my life and throughout the actual house. All of the above.
You. So people don't know. I see you on Instagram and all of a sudden you're there and you have a house. I know you went to Jamaica and said, "This is my house. This is my pool. This is my." Tell me a little bit about that because I always wanted to know. I said, Wes don't invite us to have a big party. What's going on?
No,
Tell
but
me.
you have to believe what Jay Z say. Half of what you hear, even if it's said by me, that was a that was a little villa that we had up over there. And one of the greatest things about being connected with a lot of the influencers that I'm connected with is we get to the opportunity to connect with a lot of different big businesses and a lot of different entrepreneurs. So that was a villa. Damn, I want to remember the exact name of that villa, but it was in Trial. It was on a golf course in Trial in Mobe, and they're very
Okay.
hospitable. And we showcased some stuff and did some skits and stuff for them. And then more recently, the bigger house was the Destiny Villa. That one, the
Yes.
fun. So
Yes.
we're doing a lot of business with Destiny Villa as well. So they're crazy. They spay off. Safari did his what do you call it? Honeymoon. His honeymoon after his wedding was spent in Montego Bay, Jamaica, at the Destiny Villa. So that was cool too.
Okay. Okay. So listen, under your belt, you have a gigantic man. You're a manager of Magi,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. I'm part of the management team. He needs a whole team. He can't just have one person responsible for his management. But yeah, I'm blessed to be a part of the team.
Explain that process, and we'll talk about what's going on.
How I became involved
Yeah,
with that team.
yeah.
Well, the first time that I booked Major Hype, he quoted me $500, and the growth between when I first made my inquiry and maybe about a month and a half later for us trying to sign contracts, he tried to squeeze me for 1,500 in that space of time because of how much he had grown in that
Right.
little period of time. So I got in right at the ground floor of Major Hype's career where he didn't even know what he had yet. I think I booked him before he had actually performed one stand up performance, and once we had actually connected. The very first time I met with him wasn't even for my booking. I just went out to see him at one of his, and I ended up helping him hustle T-shirts and doing all kind of stuff that a promoter doesn't normally do. So our relationship just kind of grew from there. Helped him with his shows in New York when he started producing his own shows. And yeah, man, it's been 5 years since we started. Actually,
Right.
well, going on 6 years since we started. And I've just been given more and more responsibilities, created new opportunities and avenues for him that I then take over as well. So I kind of some of it was given, and some of it I just kind of created for myself within the camp.
Did you think it was going to be that big? Like when you signed him, like when you got connected, did you see a fourth seeing of this?
Um, that's a tough question. Did I think it was gonna be this big? Uh, yes, I didn't think that it would be this big without any real corporate backing, without any real um, major entity picking us up and saying, here's what it is for you guys. We have this plan. He has no major movies, no major stand-up special with any major networks, or no major roles on any TV shows, or so. I didn't realize that it would be this big just off of our own blood, sweat, and tears. Like that. That is interesting. Still kind of surprising to me, but you
Right.
know, when you bake the pie, you get the biggest slice. So
Yeah.
we're all about baking it ourselves right now. And whenever they catch up is when they catch up, because every year they sleep on us is another year that the price goes up for when they're really ready to sign us. You know what I
Wait,
mean?
wait. What do you mean they? Who's they? Who's they sleeping on you?
I mean, that's just the gatekeepers across the board. The day is there's certain entities that hold the keys to, like, we're here on live, and they can't really stop us from being able to do what we have to do for our own selves here on live. The same way they
Okay.
can't stop Major from coming out with content that we're gonna, as Caribbean people, we continue to share and enjoy and share via WhatsApp and YouTube and all these places. He has more YouTube views from other people's channels than most people have on their own. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? From people just going
Yeah.
uploading his
I
content.
can't. I can't get a link to him. He's
You know
too
what I
difficult. You
mean?
have to.
So the fact that the people know, it's kind of surprising that the bigger platforms, like, yes, IG Live is a platform, and yes, IG is a platform, and yes, YouTube's a platform, but there's also small stations that have way, like, hundreds of thousands of viewers on these channel 87s and all that stuff, that still haven't really reached out with no real serious kind of offers, and that was very surprising to me. There's a
But I
lot of
thought he
movies
had a
that
show. I thought he had a show on BET.
he did have the BET show, which was that was a show that they decided to keep for online only, which Major Hype's channel is bigger than BET's channel. So what's
Okay, time
that?
out, time out, time out, time out. So the great BT just wanted to keep Major Hype and keep him online, not full screen feature on TV.
The deal with BET was to produce online content for their online YouTube channel, which is what we did, and that content performed about half as well to a quarter of as well as putting it out on our own platform on his own channel. So I mean, I'm sure they got a spike in their activity. I'm sure they got a spike in their subscribers and what have you. But that's what BT got out of the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides the paycheck, what
Wow.
really is for our side. You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's shocking. So
Yeah.
obviously that venture slashed down, and it's better that you stay on the way you're going now. Than do people buy into this? Is that what you're hoping or you're seeing? Because you know the man is absolutely has the Instagram on lock. Like, so
Yeah.
where are you? You know,
So we're just taking it one step at a time, one day at a time. Every year we do more revenue in the year before. Every year we have more opportunities than we did the year before, and we're just really not rushing anything. This time last year he was hosting Buju's Walk to Freedom tour, which was an amazing experience in Trinidad. An opportunity like that, well, for obvious reasons, wasn't available before. But even artists of that caliber, to choose Major to be the one of the hosts that he uses fresh out of when Buju went in. Instagram didn't even have video, so that just goes to show you the power of the internet. That when he's
yeah,
out, he drew for Major to be a part of that tour, and that was an amazing experience for us.
yeah. Major Hype is a handful for you, but do you have other projects that you're working on? Are you linked with other entertainers? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I also manage White Yardie. I manage some other
From
up and.
England.
I'm sorry.
From England, correct?
Yes, from London.
Wow.
Born in Saint Elizabeth, Black River, Jamaica, and moved to London, England, as a teen, and has been there since. But he's doing really well with his stuff over in the UK as well. We've brought him over to Canada many times, a bunch of sold out shows. We've done 3 different tours, touring all over
Yeah.
North America with him. So he's a huge entity on his own as well. And then I work with some other upcoming artists.
What? So is it is it you need the funding, or you just want to be, I guess, go into a TV, having a TV sitcom? Is that the outcome? Is that what you want?
Um, like I said, we're really just taking it day by day, one step at a time. If a TV sitcom was presented to us, we wouldn't be against it. We would look at the situation and deal with it accordingly. But for what I was speaking as before, saying when your question was, did I think that it would get this big? And my answer was, I didn't think that it would be this big on our own. Now that we are this big on our own, we just continue to just come up. Like Major will call me with an idea, Yardi will call me with an idea, I'll call one of them with an idea, and we literally, like, we have a card game out now that we created last year. I came out with the original version. It's called What You Mean. It was a collective between me and a couple of the comedians, and then we came out with Major Hype's version of it, and we came out with White Yardi's. We're coming out with White Yardi's version of it. I think actually next week it comes out. So that's something that we're seeing residual income off. We don't have to be touring for. We don't have to be getting into planes and going all different places. That's something that we can just connect with the people from home, similar to how they do on IG. You know what I mean? So that's something that's relatively new. Came out like a year ago, but we've still been kind of fine tuning it since then. So it hasn't really been a full push. There is a television show with Major on that we're kind of writing and putting together right now, and that will either create
Okay.
ourselves or we might
Okay.
shop it around to a couple people. But I'm like, the fact that people aren't banging on the door with a television show opportunity for us is what is a little, surprising to me. He already
It's
even has an
puzzling.
iPhone. Sorry, go ahead.
It's puzzling, correct? Like,
A little puzzling, but White Yardie even has an iPhone game. Can't remember the name of the game right now, but it's with a goat, and the goat goes through all different adventures, trying not to be curried, basically. So
okay.
that came out 2 years ago, and that game is doing well. So we're just here really. We don't have any shortage of opportunities. Let me not get that twisted, but it's
Okay.
mainly opportunities that we're creating for ourselves more so than the way that it used to be back in the day, where anybody that has that kind of influence over people, they'd be banging down the door to try to get them involved with some bigger project. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So trying to own them in some way, shape, or form. So in a lot of ways, it's good because we own, like I said, we own a lot of it ourselves. Once you bake the pie yourself, you definitely get the biggest slice. So in a lot of ways like that, it's good. But in a lot of other ways, it's still very, very surprising how much they're still sleeping on
You know,
Caribbean people.
Wes, let me ask you. We see on social media, we see the fame, we see the bottles popping, we see the champagne, the women, the crowds, everything. Can you take us behind the scenes as a man who travels repeatedly all over Canada, all over the States? Behind the scenes, how hard are you working? How much hours are you working? What are you doing that we don't get to see?
Yeah, well, I have a series called Success and Other Drugs, and it does exactly that. It's a lot of documented stuff. I've been documenting for the past 8 years the behind the scenes of a lot of those type of situations. Tour life, you'd be very surprised at how many people don't actually really enjoy the road, even though you're going from city to city to city. By the time you touch down in the city, you take a first earliest flight in the morning so you can get there the earliest you can. By the time you touch down, maybe about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you're at the hotel. And by the time 6 o'clock rolls around, 4 hours later, you got to go and do sound check and all kind of setting up at the
Yeah.
venue and all that kind of stuff. Especially as comedy, we don't do concerts in clubs and that sort of thing. Then we would get maybe to leave around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. But doing comedy, we're back on the road at like 6 o'clock.
No
And
sleep.
when the show's done at 10, 11, it's straight to some sort of club, some sort of after party, some sort of next appearance, up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. back to the hotel to catch the 8 o'clock in the morning flight, or 8 o'clock in the morning. We're at the airport for the 10 o'clock flight, or what have you. So it's a lot of go, go,
Wow.
go. It's crazy work. And even before the tour, for a 3 week tour, we're usually working 3-4 months of 10-12 hour days in just preparation for said tour. You know what I mean? In promotion for
Yeah.
said tour. So it's not an easy life, but it's definitely a life that we've chosen, and definitely the life that we're very blessed and gifted to have as our full-time thing, because we could be in a lot worse positions, that's for damn sure.
What's the lowest point, the lowest that you think would be a worst case scenario on tour? What's your, I mean, what's
Like
the
mood
lowest,
wise.
anything wise? What's the lowest point that you think when you're on tour? Like, can you imagine you get to one city and this gig is canceled? Where do you go from here? What do you do?
I mean, I don't nothing really, like you got to really just keep it moving. Like there's 8 shows, 18 shows set up on a tour. Each one of them we treat it with the utmost respect and trying to pull it off. Like each show is super important to us, but at the end of the day, when things go wrong and things are out of your control, so it goes. Sometime you just keep things moving. Shows get canceled, shows get postponed, shows get moved around, shows get like, it's not the most ideal convenient situations all the time, but that's life,
Right.
right? You don't get to wake
Yeah.
up and have a great day every day, so you just have a better day tomorrow. That's it.
you, you know, our artists and entertainers are there. What's your advice for when they step into the business? Because a lot of them think it's all glitz and glamour, like a
Yeah,
lot of
no.
it. And
It's not. Instagram is not real life. YouTube is not real life. Social media is not real life. You better develop thick skin. If hopefully, if you have some Caribbean parents, the chances are your skin is pretty thick already, but you might need to thicken it up a little bit more. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Really assess that you love this. You have to really love what it is that you do, because that will determine how much resilience you really have. If you can do what you're doing for the rest of your life and know that you be living paycheck to paycheck, know that you're making the bare minimum, know that you're eating ramen noodles almost every night, and you're good with that, then then enter into it, because you never know when that's gonna end, or if it would ever end.
yeah,
The thing that
yeah,
gets me, if I knew that I would just be meeting my very bare minimum requirements with financially and doing what I'm doing, I get such a high off of just fulfilling a dream that I have, an idea that I have, and working towards it and seeing it come to fruition. The money isn't really that important to me, and that's how I know I'm in the right place. You know what I mean? Once I stop
yeah,
getting that high, that enjoyment, that fulfillment out of the actual work, and it's more about a paycheck. It's more about just the money portion. It outweighs the experience of it. Then I know that I've probably outgrown the space that I'm in, and I need to find something else that I need to do at that point in time.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I was watching you the other night, and I'm not sure who you were speaking to on a live, and I was taking in, and I felt like I don't want to be, I'll ask you. I don't want to be quick to say, but I felt like you had a certain point, and I was connecting to it, a conspiracy theory of what's going on right now.
Oh, that
And
was with Major self. I was
was that
talking
was that amazing?
I was talking
Was
to
it
Nigel
amazing? Could have
himself
been.
on that
I
one.
forget. But
Yeah.
tell me, let me know. Tell me
To be
what it
honest with
was.
you, the same way every day there's something new coming on about this COVID situation, is the same way every day my opinion and perspective is kind of shifting on it. But
Okay.
I at the time, this was about maybe 2 weeks ago, and I said,
Yeah.
why are they making all of these huge concessions on all of these things? How come they're making all of these huge changes, which are all resulting in money lost? It's all putting us in an economic deficit. And when is the last time in history you've seen big companies willing to take these losses for even human life? I said, there's companies right now, for as long as we're still selling cigarettes, to when we know 100% that it gives people cancer, as long as we're still promoting alcohol to all different people, we know it's actually poison. For as long as there's still sweatshops happening, or we're profiting off of child labor, and we're sending kids into the cobalt mines to get cobalt for iPhones, and kids are dying off of that. The suicide rate in Japan is huge, based on the tech companies pushing them and having them work under such constraints, all for just technology and all for a better life for primarily North Americans, right? And Europeans. For as long as all that suffering is still happening in the world, how do you get me to believe that all of a sudden all of these companies are comfortable with losing money? Apple was the first one to close their doors for they said for 2 weeks, but I think it's even still happening now, which would be 3 weeks or whatever. And they're all just like, for a virus that seems to be less dangerous than the flu and only dangerous to a certain set of people, people that don't spend the money that that the masses spend. It just didn't make, from a capitalist economic point of view, it didn't make any sense. Since then, I've been doing a little bit more reading and a little bit more educating myself on it. And although the reality of the virus and talking about flattening the curve for the hospitals and all that, they have some arguments that are making more sense than at the time were making sense. It still seems to me that it's very much in alignment with killing small businesses, medium-sized businesses, supporting larger businesses that can withstand this type of situation, and basically broadening the gap between the upper class and middle class, which means there'll only be an upper class and lower class. You know what I mean? Okay. That seems to be an agenda that seems to that's something that's been in conversation for a long period of time, and it seems like something like this is able to make that happen and make that more of a reality. Why they want to do that, where it goes from there, I'm not educated enough to speak on it. I don't have enough logical theories. I haven't done enough research to really speak on that. I'm just asking the questions. I'm saying, how does this make sense? You know what I mean? And for a lot of people for a long time, it didn't make sense. It still doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'm just keeping my eyes open and my ears open and paying a lot of attention to what's happening around me, you know?
You know, I have this thought, like, it's a economic breakdown and reset of the economy, I guess. You know, I also have my own theories where I didn't fully educate to have standards to back them up, just a lot of what I'm thinking. You know, but in this industry, I put this like this now. I see a superstar, well, two superstars that you manage, White Yardie and Major Hype. I contribute them to basically just as big as, or could be just as big as a Martin, right? Because, you know, I mean, I'm a Sanford and Son guy. That's my favorite show in the world. So I'll give Martin. So I'm thinking, why are not the big companies prepared to invest in two black males that are dominant over the social media, that can only enhance their company? And then you're giving me that BET only wants him to stay online, and I think that's a shelf because BET has a big platform, correct?
Well, that isn't a shelf. It's an opportunity for them to gain and grow and leave him exactly where he is.
Exactly.
Like, if it was a situation where he was pushing their online platform, and in turn they were pushing his him on television, a platform that maybe people have not seen him, he has exposure to people who potentially have not seen him, right? That would be beneficial. But instead, what they wanted to do was, he has 1 million followers at the time. It might have been 600, 700,000 or 800,000, whatever it was. But let's get his followers over to our platform. That was their goal, rather than let's expose this guy who's already proven himself, a self-made online superstar. He's built this platform himself. Let's give him an even bigger platform to develop him even more, because it's going to work in our favor. If he was able to do this with the resources that he had, all he uses is his cell phone to do his videos. He edits everything on his cell phone. He does it all by himself. If we give him a full production team, let's see what this individual can do. That they half-assed it. They said, let's give him a full production team and see what he can do for us. You know what I mean? And let's see how he can grow our platform. Let's see how he can You know, like get his people transferred over. And
Yeah, I'm all for the boycott of BET if that's the case. I'm all for it.
our
Give it up.
relationship is still, don't get me wrong, our relationship is still good with BET. It's kind of like somebody seeing you Wiz and saying, yo, he's a great DJ, why do we put him in the club when no one's there yet, and then I'll come and take over. You're still happy for the opportunity of someone recognizing you and your skills, because no one else is coming in and putting you in that position to give you an opportunity to have a paycheck or whatever. But what they recognize in you is far smaller than what you know your potential is to be. So you just take your paycheck and you go back to doing your online show, or go back to making your mixtapes, or go back to doing what you're doing, where you know you're still growing that, and soon the person that put you on will probably be obsolete. You probably would have outgrown them behind their backs, not even realizing what was happening. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But
that's what's happening anyway right now. They've tried to shelf me, but I'm still cutting through it. We're still doing it, you know. But
right.
I'm gonna ask you one question. But before I ask you this last question, I'm gonna have to ask you. I'm gonna tell you about a thing we call 10 and things. So at the end, I'll ask you 10 questions, strictly, totally something totally abnormal, and you got to think of the first thing that comes to your head. All right?
All right, sounds good.
10 and things. Um, you know, I've been talking to, and for those who are logging in, I've been talking to Wes Hype, extraordinary, exceptional, great management of Major Hype, White Yadi. He's an entrepreneur. He's a promoter. He's a man who has started from grassroots and, you know, just careered his path. And it's a very much respectful thing. And I appreciate you. And, you know, I wish and hope that, you know, young black teens that are looking, or young teens in general that are looking towards doing something like this, can look to you for mentorship, can look to you to be up hopeful. How can people contact you and get in touch with you and, you know, just get into your circle?
Oh, definitely. Well, like I said, I have the my platform is called Success and Other Drugs. It's a channel that I'm developing on YouTube, and that's exactly what it's all about. It's I literally want to give away all the blueprints. I've been doing this now, geez, I think 23 years I've been involved
Yeah.
in entertainment and entertainment industry, and I've made a whole lot of mistakes that that y'all don't have to make. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to give away the exact blueprints, ideas, the behind the scenes, everything on that channel, on that platform. My handle is at Wes Hype. You can always DM me, and I'm always down to have any conversations, business oriented conversations. I'm super available for
After this, after this, say this ends. First question is, how long do you see this going on?
this one.
COVID-19, quarantine, lockdown?
That um it's hard to predict. For me personally, I had a Mother's Day show which was supposed to be in May that I obviously canceled. I had shows that I was trying to do throughout July in Caravana that were on the calendar, but nothing was like, you know, movement was made forward. I'm currently making forward movements and committing to December 18th to 20th. So that's a time when I feel comfortable that this is going to be good by then. I might be able to sneak in a show before that, but I'm betting my money for December.
December.
Yeah.
You know, Tyler Perry has his own studio now, correct? He bought the
Yeah,
whole
in
land.
Atlanta,
And
the field.
do you see that being a possible route for you? Is that a goal for you after this COVID-19 for you to buy your own entity? Is what's
Um,
after this?
the thing that I like about staying small and doing small business is you stay very nimble, and you stay very you're very able to adjust with the times, right? So although I'm sure a studio would be like, well, obviously it's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm not opposed to it. I'm also not really super excited or overly anxious about having anything that's too tangible, anything that's too concrete, anything that's too brick and mortar. Um, Staying close to what's hot, staying look how the lives have blown up in this situation. Tory Lanez is all of a sudden some radio host of some kind getting 80,000 people all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I'm,
And then
I'm trying to get the Tory to talk to him to find out what the
yeah,
heck.
bro, like what's going on? How did you come up with this, right? Major Hype has been DJing for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, everybody knows the DJ.
So Major opened. He's been a DJ from before that, but he opened his
Yes.
own IG club apparently, and people go there every night. Tory Lanez
Okay.
opened his own IG radio station. What else is going on? Timbaland and Swiss Beats decided to bring Battle of the Beatmakers to a
Yes.
international ultimate level, 100,000. So for me, none of this existed 3 weeks ago, right? This
Correct.
platform was here. This opportunity was
Correct.
always here, but they didn't see the opportunity there available to them until all these doors were closed. And necessity is the mother of invention, right? So
Yeah.
because I know necessity is the mother of invention, because I know we're in a technological world where everything advances so quickly, I'm not too anxious to go plant myself and tell you that I'm a this or I'm a that. Even as far as to say, it's only recently that I claim to be Major's manager or White Yardy's manager. I'm just a partner of theirs. I work on their teams. I don't really like to put myself in a box where I'm looked at as a certain way or held to a certain standard or have a certain label. Because really and truly, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I'm an artist. Like anything artist is probably the best word to describe me, because an artist is just so abstract that I can literally be liquid and flow into anything, and that's really where I like to be, and I'd like to continue to be. The stability in that comes in that you have you produce good art, you have good ideas, and the monetary stability is there. But in terms of saying I have this office building where I have 20 people working for me or 200 people working for me, I'm not really into all that. I don't need all that for it to validate me. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing every single day, wake up and do exactly what I want to do and get paid for it. That's all I really need.
Wes Hype. Wes Hype. Listen, he has his handles, he has his social media contacts, but he's a very busy man. It took me a while to get in touch with him, so I'm so blessed that you decided to do this interview. I really appreciate you, and I thank you. We've talked for years, known you for years, and I just see you keep achieving, and I hope that whatever you want to do, that God blesses you and makes it accessible for you, because it well deserved.
I appreciate
So
that.
we're gonna get into our 10 and things, all right?
Bring on the things, man.
Bring on the things. All right, ready?
Mm.
First question. If you have, all right, number one, you can't sell it.
Okay.
You can't give it away. If you have a hippo, what do you do with it?
Ride it around the city, bro. Pull up to the club with that, dog. What's wrong with you? Niggas ain't got a
You're gonna
hippo.
pull up to the club in the hippo.
For sure.
All right.
Pulling up
If
to the
you
club.
could fly or be invisible, which one would you do and why?
Invisible, because when you're out of sight, you're out of mind, and that's an advantage in a lot of ways.
So you're taking the invisible.
For sure. Hands down.
For sure. All right. Tell me one food that you hate. Not even dislike, you just hate it.
Fish.
Fish?
I'm not eating fish.
No tomorrow. All right. What's one piece of clothing you hate to wear?
Head tie.
Head tie.
I hate to wrap my head, but you don't want the fluff in your dreads, you know what I mean? So you have to wrap it.
All right. When you went to school, the one that you wanted to beat the teacher, you hated this subject.
French.
French?
Yeah.
No.
Fuck French.
I parlez-vous français?
Ne parlez pas français. Non, non, non. Ne pas de français.
All right. Here you go. Use the word nasty in one sentence.
But like some nasty girl, you know.
You have some nasty girl, you know.
Some nasty girl with them there.
All right. If you were a shoe, which one would you be?
A Jordan, because it has longevity. Now it maintains its value.
So you're a Jordan. All right. All right.
You said tomorrow morning. If I could be a shoe.
No, you want to be a shoe. You're a
Yeah,
Jordan.
a Jordan,
All
man.
right. All right. Let's hope this never happens, but this is 10 on things, right?
Okay.
You wake up tomorrow
Mm.
and you have $0 in your bank account, $0 in savings,
Mm-hmm.
$0 to your name.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Um, Damn, that's a good question because am I trying to get back or have I given up?
No. If you wake up and all of a sudden your bank account is cleaned out, everything done, gone.
Okay, I'm gonna answer it in two ways. If I just was done with the money thing or whatever,
Yeah.
then I would be a writer. I would just start writing. I would just delve right into my art and not care about making $1 off of it. That would be writing.
Right.
If I was on the bounce back tip, I'd buy some bottled water. Start flip that. A
You
dollar
put the
to a
water.
dollar, $2 to $4. We get right back up slowly and surely. The one thing I love about having made the amount of money that I've made thus far,
Yeah.
and also losing the amount of money that I've lost thus far, I'm not afraid of losing all of my money at all in any way, shape, or
I
form.
know.
Because the knowledge that it took me to the knowledge that I've gained to get to the point where I'm at right now can't be taken away from me. So it's gonna
So you
if
can survive. You'd
I can get
survive.
back to where I am right now twice as quickly, 3 times as quickly, 4 times as quickly it took me to get to here this time. So
I have two more
good.
questions. Two more questions. All
I
right.
thought it was a grand finale. It sounded like a grand finale question,
No,
but
two more. How many dates until you make the first move?
depends on the girl, man. To get me on a date would be is a big deal. So I'd probably make it on the first date because we already been talking
If
for
we're gonna
months.
move on the first date. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no time
for
for
me
this.
to commit to a time on place, that's months of talking or whatever. So it's time. It's go time.
Yeah, Wes, there's no time to waste. All
Nah,
right,
for
Wes. All right. I want you to picture this now. Final question. Picture this.
mm,
You finally get the date, right? And you're
yes.
invited over to her house, right?
Me go to
And
her
you
house.
open the door, and boom, the rat trap has a rat. She kicks it to the side. The house smells like cabbage, like cabbage from 10 weeks old. Clothes all over the floor. She picks up the dirty stuff, the dirty clothes on the couch and throws it on the ground and says, make yourself comfortable. What do you do?
Is this a question, bro? Is this a real question? It's let me go get my charger in the car. I'll be right back.
You're out.
I'm gonna come right back, but I gotta charge my phone quick. Let me just go get my charger.
So no nasty, y'all. That's it.
Right up on that one.
So
Yo, like
that.
I'm
Listen.
so like you meet so many people, right?
Yeah.
Like people, that's the one thing that is so easy to do in entertainment or whatever, is meet people with different personalities or whatever. And you meet so many people that I have a very efficient way to categorize and eliminate people from your life. It's not hard for you to
It's
get
not
put.
hard.
It's not hard for you to be put in a box that you can never get out of, and it's not hard for you to just never be able to get me on the phone again. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
There's
listen,
been a
Wes,
lot
I'm gonna
simpler
try to stay
things.
on your good side.
Huh?
I'm gonna try to stay on your good side
Yo,
because you're a
you've been
good
on the
friend of
good side,
mine.
man. You've been on the good side for a long time. But
Listen,
there's
Wes, I
simple
thank
ways
you.
to cut through the bullshit.
You know what I mean? Thank
Mm-hmm.
you very much for this interview. I appreciate you. Like I said, if people want to contact you, I'm going to get that out on the YouTube when I up this on YouTube to get to you. I just appreciate you, and I hope that 100% that you get everything that you want in this business. And say hello to Major Hype for me. Tell him to like link me sometimes. Like he could say hi.
All right, next time he's here, we're here for a good couple days, but you linked late. Next time we're here, we'll stop by and do something in your studio or whatever. But
Yeah,
before I
man.
go, I do want to talk about one quick thing. I woke up this morning. I've been talking about with the COVID-19 thing, I've been talking about being resilient. I have been talking about educating yourself. I've been talking about asking the right questions, and that goes from the regular 9 to 5 job, making sure that your bills are in order, your savings are in order. If you have a landlord and if you're renting, talk to your landlord about potential what do you call it, concessions on the rent, getting a reduction during the period of time that this is going on, or potentially diverting payments, whatever it is. Talk to your landlord about the potential options that are available to you. If you're a homeowner or whatever, they've put in some programs. I'm not super educated on them, but I know you can divert your mortgage payments. The 5 major banks are doing that, and I would implore everybody to exercise whatever options are available to them through those channels, because from big business to small business to the individual, we're all feeling it during this period of time. And if you're ever going to get lenience, now is the time to get it. Now, to the entrepreneur, I've been speaking to a lot of entrepreneurs one-on-one in terms of how they could pivot their businesses and what they can do to be slightly different. Even me and you sitting on this live right now, you've seen me do a couple lives, and that's me pivoting. I'm unemployed right now. We're not filling the seats of theaters. I don't really have a lot to do, and that's why I'm exercising a lot of the things that I would normally love to do but don't have the time to, right? And for the entrepreneur, I would suggest that you do the same. I woke up this morning and I saw one of the entrepreneurs that had been complaining 3 days ago. A guy on my IG, his name is Lime with Ling. He's a chef, a Trinidadian chef that has a restaurant down here in Toronto. And he was giving a really heartfelt, emotional plea of just telling people his situation and how bad business was for him and all that. 3 days later, he's transformed his business, which was primarily a sit-down dine-in business at a time where dining is not possible, and now he's doing meal plans at a very affordable rate. He's doing $50 for 6 days of meals, 2 meals a day, which works out to be like $4.15 per meal. He's doing that for like the first 50 people. I think after that, it's like $70, which goes up by a little bit. My point is, the reason why I'm supporting his business and telling people about his business is because he didn't just lie down and say, I don't know what to do. He felt that way for a minute, and 3 days later, he came up with a brand new plan of what he was going to do and how he's going to attack business. And that spoke to me directly as soon as I saw it. I didn't know him personally. I just have him on my Instagram, and I've been promoting his business all day, and will continue to promote his business because it's a great example of what other people can do in their businesses, how they can pivot from these situations, how they can elevate their businesses, and how they can change their businesses to still survive in a time where they're telling you basically you're supposed to fail, right? And as a consumer now, I'm going to also be seeking out businesses like that to support in these times, because they really need our support and to keep the money within the community and be supporting our own right now at a time where a lot of people will be turning their backs on a lot
I'm not sure if the volume, Wes, I'm not sure if your volume went out or mine went out. I don't know. I got a bad call that was coming in.
You can hear me still, or you can't hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can't hear me, right? You can hear me.
Yeah.
I can't hear you very well.
People that can't hear me?
Little bit. Not too tough still.
All right. Well, hopefully
not too tough. So what we'll do is we'll do a second edition, you and I.
Yeah.
Right? And then 100% we'll get some more on that. But basically what you're saying is don't lie down, think, and come up with some kind of, idea and stuff like that. Correct?
100%. And I don't know if they can hear me, but support is so important. Support, and go ahead, check my page. You'll see the story about that guy, and I'm going to be finding other people to support and send love their way.
Right. Wes, respect and honor. You hear that, sir? I'll give you an elbow, an elbow, an elbow.
Elbow daps, elbow daps.
Elbow. Thank you very